What's up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the Nerd Castle for the next episode of Stranded Deep. I'm happy to have you here today as we go. I mean, we're just going to be diving in wrecks. I mean, that's pretty much it. Diving in wrecks. That's all. Trying to find ourselves some treasure of the cloth variety that we can wrap our boo-boos with. We are way out in the boonies right now. Like, seriously, I just grabbed a couple of machetes and started swimming. My chances of finding my way home are actually fairly slim at this point. I'm going to do my best to try and do it. Like, I've got like a vague directional sense of where we are. So I figure if I swim back in the direction I came from, eventually I will hit like one of the islands that I've marked that points the way home. This might have been a terrible idea. It might have been the greatest idea ever, and it's impossible to tell which of the two it's going to be at this given moment. But nonetheless, I'm happy to have you here for my misadventures. I may try to show you all how to fly a tree back to another island too in this episode, just to kind of like, I don't know, show off some of the secrets and tricks. It's not really that useful since the tree like despawns halfway back to the other island out from underneath you, but it's still pretty fast. I mean, it's a decent way to get some quick velocity in any given direction that you want. I'm chopping this tree down to make the sticks that we're going to mark our way back with. If you're wondering why I'm spending so much time just sorting the living hell out of this tree, he said something terrible about my family, and so therefore, by the rights of the universe, I get to hit him with a machete over and over and over again. Now, the island we came from should be right back behind us. Yes, indeed, it's that island right there. And that island is, our island is kind of like that way from that island if we're standing on it. So just kind of like be aware, there are a lot of wrecks out here. As I was coming in on this island, that's part of the reason that I decided to do this, is I figured maybe we had gotten most of the wrecks in the areas that we had been already. And so what I would prefer to do right now is let's go ahead and I'm going to make my arrow like I always do. The wood arrow of homewardness. There we go. There we go. And then like tip you over this way maybe. Just a tiny bit. There it is. There's the point of our arrow. I mean, the point of our arrow is to help us find the way home, but you know what I mean. That's going to be the point of the arrow right there. And then we'll drag this guy back on in over here. There it is. There's nothing else. If you're wondering why I do this like every episode, it's because, like, frankly, there's nothing else to do while it's dark out because you can't really wreck dive when it's dark. Some people said that you can use the lantern. The point of our arrow is a little off, but I think we'll be able to get the point if we need it. There were two wrecks out this way, and I don't think we're going to be able to see them until I swim a little bit further out because of the color of the horizon. However, I know that there are two out here, and I would like to go after them and see if maybe we can get our hands on some goodies before we go much further. Our health is looking a little bit suspect, so I'd like to be careful about that for right now. They weren't super far out, but I think we are going to have to go out at least a little ways. Really, the color of the horizon is what sets you off. We got to wait for it to be a little bit further on into the day before we can do this consistently. That, or we've got to put the island as a backdrop so that we can see them. Unfortunately, it's like really easy to see the bubbles at night, but you can't like dive down and do anything with them because it's so dark underwater that you can't really make use of them. So you're forced to wait until the day, but if you wait till the day, you've got that lovely glare right there, which makes it so that it's very difficult to see the bubbles anyway, so that you can't get to the wreck again. What I would like to see is maybe a little diminishing of that effect so that you might be able to see the bubbles a little bit more clearly. They're also easier to see when you're not in the water. That's the other problem right there, is that if you're not in the water, it's actually a little bit easier to see them. But we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out before we go any further. I'll go back to the island for right now. We'll focus on chopping down trees. There we go. The color of the sky changed a little bit. Might be able to get eyes on. Maybe not, though. Either way, let's go back to the island. I'll try and get eyes on from higher ground. I think it's obviously... Oh, we swam right through one. See what I mean? Like, the horizon is such a different color that you can actually swim right past them, too. This one's going to be a dud, because I recognize the model. Unfortunately, we've just had, like, a really long span of just, like, shitty ships in a row. Like, seriously, we've had, like, the worst ships ever. And none of this stuff is going to be lootable down in here, so don't even bother with it. If you see this model, you can be reasonably assured there's not going to be anything on it. It's unfortunate. Like, I wish they actually didn't have ship models like that skunk you very violently. However, I think there was more bubbles this way from this wreck, so it might be worth looking at. Yeah, there's a second wreck right here. That's what I was going to say. I thought I saw two sets of bubbles very close to each other when I was on my swim in. Unfortunately, with the color of the sky right now, you aren't going to see it. And this one is actually going to be a lucrative wreck for us. This one should have things that we want. So we've got an engine. We've got another machete. We've got a flare gun. I don't know how that's going to benefit us, but I could think of a number of ways that you could put that to good use. Morphine, just in case. The morphine is not going to fix our Morphine is unfortunately not going to fix our bleeding problem. However, what morphine will fix, if we really, really need it to, is a broken arm. And that's actually quite a bit. It's not like that much worse than any of the other status effects in the game, but it's still a minor annoyance when you have it. So I figure it's nice to have the stuff on hand so that we can fix it if we have to. Let's dive back down. See if we can eke anything else out of this wreck. I think there's a toolbox up at the front of the wreck too. If it's the, oh, some duct tape. Okay, I don't know what duct tape's going to be useful for either. Maybe fashioning. Oh, a real axe. Holy shit, I didn't even know that was a thing in the game. A whole bunch of duct tape. I'm actually kind of happy we found that because it allows it to stack up really, really well. It makes this whole thing nicer for me. It makes my life easier. Unfortunately, we haven't found the air tank. There's a couple of items that we just haven't gotten our hands on yet. One of them's an air tank. And unfortunately, you can only get the... Oh, there's more duct tape, though. That's good. All right, so we got duct tape. On the plus side, duct tape is an amazingly useful survival tool. There's, like, very, very few things you can't make out of duct tape because duct tape is watertight a lot of the time. Like, if you assemble your duct tape object properly, it should be waterproof. And so that puts us in a great position to actually have some fun stuff to take back to base with us. Some of the... I don't know what we're going to do with duct tape. I don't even know if it's been put in the game yet. Like, duct tape is in the game, but what I mean by that is I don't know if they've put any objects you can make with duct tape in the game as of right now. I figure I'll run around the island for a second, see if there's any more bubbles that we can see off in the distance. Yeah, it's because we're not up on our raft. That's what's making it really hard to see the bubbles. The fact that we're not on our raft anymore. There's a shark over there. There's some bubbles out that way, but it looks like we have a fog bank rolling in, unfortunately. So we'll just have to live with that fact. I will try to grab some potatoes while we're here. Let's take a look around. I know that maybe bandages are a thing in the game because it mentions them on the wiki as a cure to bleeding. Unfortunately, until we find one, I think that leaves us... However, bandages itself did not have a Wikipedia entry. So it's like one of those weird things where... It sort of had it references it, but it doesn't have its own article, so I don't know. We may come out short-handed right now. I'm always short-handed because I'm always like, I'm 5'6", so no matter what I do, I'm short-handed. But it's something that we've grown used to over time. It's something, I don't know why I just referred to myself as plural and in the third person. That's a little bit disturbing. Some mild schizophrenia is starting up right now. Anyways, let's have a look around. Well, this island actually looks like it's probably a pretty decent island to have started on. Looks like it's got a lot of crabs and a lot of lovely other resources to be tapped upon, especially a lot of free sticks, which is important. If you play this game enough, you know that free sticks are pretty important. I mean, I get excited when I see a lot of free sticks. What is that over there? Is that a boat? What is that? A boat with a shark. All right. If a shark tries to roll out on us, we'll be like, you what, mate? You what? You what? And then we will stab it in the face repeatedly as violently as possible. However, this wreck does not appear to be that useful to us. It looks like it's one of those unmarked wrecks that's just hanging out on this side. We want to be very, very careful about our swimming right now because with this fog bank in, it's almost like smog even. It doesn't even look like fog. That's the thing, is it looks like kind of like almost like smog, like the LA San Fernando fog, or we get it around the Bay Area every now and again too, where it's just like this nasty brownness that just like comes out of Martinez. And just like it encompasses all of the surrounding areas. You'd be like, well, thanks for that, Martinez. We appreciate it. They've done studies in Martinez, which is a little city here in California right next to where I live. They've done studies on Martinez that show that cases of emphysema and like lung disease are higher there because of all the refineries. That's why it's so nasty around Martinez. I suppose I should explain that. This should be part number 1, I think. Part 1 of 4. So we have 2 of 4 and 1 of 4. The flare, I don't know what the flare is useful for. It scares away predators is what it says, but I don't think that there's any actual predators around. If anybody's running drone strikes on my ass, I'm going to be a little bit nervous. I'll be like, whoa, I logged into the wrong game today. I thought I was playing Stranded Deep, not Call of Duty. Well then, let's drop some rocks over here so that we can eat ourselves some cocoa nuts. It appears as though the coconuts don't really like to be transferred in between islands. The ones that I brought over from the previous island did not want to be eaten or chopped. It looked like our machete bugged out and would not swing at them. I was clicking with all of my heart, and frankly, my heart is not so enormous. It's only like, fist-sized. Anyways, with all of my heart, I was doing the best that I could to channel the clicking from within, and unfortunately, there was no immediate action. There was no immediate action or change. Since we've got ourselves denoted, though, with our directional sense, I think we should be alright. I'm hoping I can find my way home from here. If I can, it's going to be a little bit frustrating, but either way, we've got enough survival gear at this point to where we don't really even need to worry about being lost. I probably should have drank out of that, shouldn't I? Yarp, should have drank out of it, so let's leave those for later. And in fact, that's what I'll do right now while we wait for this fog bank to go away. It's hard to navigate with this fog bank around, and so what I'm going to do for the time being is I'm just going to make these all into eatable, drinkable food. So we'll drink the milk out of there. You should be very, very careful about that. As I said in previous episodes, natural laxative. So if you don't want to be dehydrated, getting yourself a lovely case of the shits out in the middle of a survival island would not be the best way to go. Probably a great way to just like hate yourself and then just like have those chapped lips that look really, really nasty. Used to be this guy that I would go out into the field with who he would never bring chapstick like ever. I don't know why. Maybe he thought it was like unmanly or like girly or something. I don't know, but I always bring chapstick when I go out to survival locations. Like if I'm going to be out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks in the middle of in the middle of nowhere, the last thing I want is to have my lips splitting open, bleeding all over the place while I'm sitting around all day in the sun. It's miserable when it happens, and so when I'm in that situation, I always bring chapstick just in case. Chapstick's a useful item anyways because you can make wicks using it. So if you have like some small bits of string, you can kind of run them together with your hands and then cover it with a little bit of chapstick. It should be flammable. It might go brand by brand, I'm not really sure. But anyways, it worked the last time I tried it out. It could have just been the brand, but I don't know. Gather up all the rocks. This actually seems to be the island to go to if you're looking for something that rocks. And so they got like their Detroit Rock City thing going on over here. That's actually the only Kiss song that I ever really enjoyed. I've never been a giant Kiss fan. I just haven't. There's like 3 or 4 Kiss songs that I think like really, really go and are like worth the praise that they have received. And then other than that, Kiss is kind of hit or miss for me. They have some albums that are on, and then they have other albums like during the disco period where you just be like, what were you guys doing? And they're like, everybody was making a disco album. So we did it too. Those old musical fads. I'm probably going to try and kill this shark over here. Machete's a pretty good item to do it with if you've got access to it. There he is right there. I may actually, let's start shit instead of waiting for him to kick it off. And it's difficult for a shark to kick off anything, by the way, because sharks don't have feet. They can flip it off very, very well because they have flippers, and so there you go. They're pretty well accomplished at that. He's going to try and run away. I'm sprinting right now. If you're wondering how I'm staying on top of him like that, it's because I'm sprinting. That's the only way. Hopefully there's no other sharks around for the time being because I'm going to cart this one back to the shore, and he is going to be our dead friend for the next little bit. He's half the reason that I brought a lighter back with me. I don't know. We can fly the shark again if you guys want. I mean, it's one of those entertaining things that exists inside the confines of the game. Hey, the shark helped us find another rock. Nice job. Who knew that this shark would be a rock hound? Either way, we're like completely and totally out of rocks at our other location, so it might be a good idea to bring these ones along with us when we leave. But for now, what does it take us to make a campfire? Like 5 or 6 sticks? It can't be that much. It's got to be like, I don't know. I've never cooked a shark, and I kind of want to, so let's cook a shark in this episode. We're using up content at an alarming rate, and so I don't want the series to come to an end. There's still like shenanigans and hijinks that we can get ourselves into, or low jinks if you wanted it to be a little bit lower key, whatever you'd prefer. I try to be a cloud. What is that? The hell is that? Is it a wreck? It looks like it might be a wreck. Hold on. Sideline. Let's go ahead and sidebar that for just a second. We're going to table it for a time being. That wreck looks weird. It looked like a floating body in the water. I think it's just like the front end of a ship. Yeah, it's the front end, but it looked weird for a second. It looked like something that might need to be investigated, and investigate we have. Does this one have a toolbox in it? It does not, from what I can tell. It's got what looks like a little bit of glowing, like some glowing material. Oh, never mind. That's just a shadow. Never mind. I was hoping we would find some kind of like enchanted stone that we could then turn into some kind of enchanted claymore of shark slaying. But unfortunately, it doesn't exist. The X. Everybody wants the X. The enchanted claymore of shark slaying. The ECSS. Ooh, even when you use the abbreviation for it, it sounds good. Whether you call it the X or the ECSS, it sounds like a real thing, doesn't it? It sounds like a real thing. Either way it goes. This big rock over here is slightly confusing to me because it looks just like the rock on the other side of the island. The rock will be joining us in this episode, like flexing and looking at his watch pretty frequently. So standing on this high point right here, I think I see bubbles right there. I'm just going to line the cursor up with it, and we're just going to go for it since I'm having trouble seeing it at this hour of day. And so if I line the cursor up and we just make a straight shot over to it, we should be okay. It'd be funny if we made a straight shot to the wreck and then we got a shot of adrenaline or like a shot of morphine or whatever. I feel like that would be vaguely punny. Not like super punny. Oh, good. We've got a shark on us right now. I'm going to go ahead and dive then. Oh, this one's out here. This one's way deep out here. Okay. I don't even know if I'm going to be able to see in order to properly utilize anything that might be out here. This is a really, really dark wreck. It looks like it might be a ship split in half. I don't know. Where's that shark at, though? That's the other thing that I'm slightly concerned about. Where is he? There he is. Yeah, get out of here. I'm onto you. I know you're here. You don't scare me anymore. I've got a machete. I already killed your friend. I'll create a pile of sharks if I have to. Just a big old monument to my shark slaying skill. Watch out for the front end. That's the end that you gotta watch out for. That's the one that'll get you if you're not careful. I'm gonna go up to the surface so that we... Oh, I'm standing on him right now. How gangster is that? He's tried to surface, and I was like, I almost said he tried to surface for air, but then I remembered they have gills, and so there's that. Either way, he's getting kind of desperate right now. He wants us. He wants us. Wow, he fell down to the bottom quick. He sunk like a stone. Anyways, bad thing to build yourself out of if you have a plan on being an aquatic animal. Well, we might not have gotten much treasure out of the deal, but we got ourselves a shark, so that's pretty cool. I guess we'll head back on over. If I could ride on him, it would be much, much better at this point, but it doesn't look like it's going to acquiesce to... Oh, it slightly did. Be careful about that, though. Every now and again, it'll, like, slingshot you up into the air and kill you. So you gotta be careful when you do this, especially when you're flying the shark. Oh, yeah. There it is right there. Flying the shark. And so, see, it's very, very easy to fall and wound yourself, though, when you're participating in this particular bug. It's easiest if you do it from the head right here. He'll also run at sprinting speed if you want him to, so you can actually use this to get in between islands, like here and there. It'll disappear when you get out to the deep water, though, which is the disappointment. Are there bubbles right there? Or is that just seaweed? Oh, I was going to say, that's got to be the bubbles closest to the surface that I've ever seen. Let's chop this bad boy up and see what we get out of it. We got to get something, right? Oh, yeah, there it is. We got a meat fin, a meat fillet, and a meat chunk. How do these differ from one another? I can't really tell you. But as we attempt to survive... Oh, look, it puts them all together. They stack together. That's not... Well, I mean, that could become a problem later on, I guess. Either way, though, I would have preferred to have found a couple more machetes on this island, given how many of these random things we have around. Random ships are floating everywhere, and so I was hoping our ship would come in and we get ourselves some good loot. It does not appear to be the case, though. Let's stack this up on this side as part of our long-term loot. And aside from the sticks that I've already used, I'll try and show you how to fly a tree back to the other island in just a second. That's probably how we'll end the episode. I'll eat some food, we'll make a fire, we'll get all these things done that I want to get done before we leave. We may not need to, though. We got potatoes over here. I like how the description for potatoes is like, because. As though the developers knew exactly. People are going to be like, what are potatoes doing on a desert island? And then there you go, you have your answer. That's going to be a little bit of food. We don't really need much more, actually. I don't know, we could leave from this location right now and I'd be pretty pleased with our daily allotment of things accomplished. Unfortunately, night's coming along. And so I think what I'll do is let's corral up some of the other useful things, and I'm going to make a run all the way back, but I'm going to try and show you how to fly a tree right now. It's actually easier to fly a tree than it is to fly a shark. Who would have known? I know. But if you can stand on top of it, flying the tree is actually quite a bit easier because it stays rigid, whereas the shark will bend and it'll like fling you off of itself every now and again. And so actually flying the tree trunk is actually a lot easier. If you go like this right here, just keep it nice and steady and you can fly it around basically wherever you want to go, and it saves you. If you don't have a raft, I mean, it will disappear when we get far enough out to sea, but it's a useful trick to use if you're out and about, and it's also humorous. So, you know, if they ever add multiplayer to the game, show your friends, show your wife, whatever. Laugh about the bugginess and think it's hilarious. No one will blame you. I think I definitely want to bring back the engine, the duct tape. Well, actually, everything in this pile, I want it all to come back with me, so unfortunately we're going to have to leave something behind here. It's probably going to be the sticks, seeing as the limiting reagent for this entire game has kind of been rocks. Luckily, they stack up pretty high. I don't think we have multiple lighters, so I may have to leave one of these behind too, which is disappointing. Mayhaps we will come back here someday to get more rocks, and when we do, I'm going to stack up all the goodies over here just in case. But for now, I'm going to show you how to fly this tree. So we want to go back to that island right over there. It's very, very simple. All you've got to do is you kind of want to get towards the front of said tree. Then you lift it up slightly, not too far. Oh, it's doing something troublesome right now. You kind of want to do it from the back end of the tree too, if you can make it work. Like, you don't want to be more towards the front end. You want to be towards the back end of the tree if you want this to work like long term. It might kick you off early if you try and do it from the front end. So anyways, yeah, I'm falling through the tree right now technically. I can fix this though. There's like a perfect way to get a hold of it every now and again. Sometimes crouching helps, but I'm falling through the tree at the moment for some reason. I don't know why. It might be due to the fact that I have a weapon out. Yeah, I'm falling through the tree. So unfortunately... No! And then I messed up my arrow too. Damn it, sabotage. The tree's trying to get back at me. He doesn't want to be ridden right now. He's not okay with that. He neither wants to be rode hard nor put away wet. Let's go ahead. And as sexual as that euphemism sounds, it's actually a horse racing euphemism. Let's see here. There we go. I mean, our arrow's a little bit... Actually, it points at the wrong island right now. What we want is that one, I think. So let me rotate the front of the arrow around a little bit so that this isn't pointing at the wrong place. There we go. No? Like over here? There we go. That'll do it. That'll do her. Perfect. I don't know why building arrows is so much fun in this game, but for whatever reason I really enjoy it. And so therefore, it is going to take up a portion of every single episode that I film. No matter what, because making arrows is the stuff. We've got a shark in the area. He might not even be that close, but yeah, I think that's our island. I don't think that one's it. I'm pretty sure that one's it. It's one of these two, and this is the problem that I frequently run into. So let me see if I can get this fixed here. It might only work on trees that haven't like sat around for a while. I don't know. There we go. Ah, it rotated. Shit. I should stop doing this so close to my arrow, but that's kind of the point, is we're trying to fly this thing home. Alright, so let me see if I can get it airborne first. Nope, that's bugging me through it. Lift it up slightly. There we go. Now we're good. We are officially flying a tree. Oh, shit. Well, that didn't work out so great. My tree sunk. Well, I guess I'll probably break off the episode right here because there's seriously like nothing left to do but swim for like 35 minutes. And so when the swim needs to be swum, it's the swum that I swam. Let's go ahead and handle that right now. Make sure that arrow's looking good in case we ever return. And off we go. My name is Splattercat. Thank you for joining me here at the Nerd Castle for the next episode of Stranded Deep. I'm happy to have you here. It's always a pleasure and a privilege. I look forward to seeing you all in the next episode, as many as we can film, because we're still coming across new items at the wrecks at the bottom of the sea, so I figure it's still worth it for us to keep having a look around and seeing what stuff is inbound. I will see you all later. Hi-do, everybody.